Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Gam Ganeshaya Namah. Om Trayambakam Yajamahi Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahi Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahi Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Haurim Baglamukhi Hum Fat Swaha. Om Haurim Baglamukhi Hum Fat Swaha. Om Haurim Baglamukhi Hum Fat Swaha. Om Shri Gurudeva Datta. Om Shri Gurudeva Datta. Om Shri Gurudeva Datta. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Para Brahmane Namah. Om Para Brahmane Namah. Om Para Brahmane Namah. Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namah. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namah. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namah. Jai Mohanji. My name is Nazima and I'm from the Datta Tapovan Ashram in Durban. And today I will be reading chapter 31 and 32 from the Sai Sat Charitra. The passing away in Baba's presence of Sannyasi Vijayanand, Balaram Mankar, Nulkar, Mega, and the tiger. In this chapter, Hemant Pant describes the passing away of certain devotees and a tiger in Baba's presence. Preliminary. The last wish or thought that a man has at the hour of death determines his future course. Shri Krishna has said in Gita, verse 5 to 6, chapter 5 to 6, that he who remembers me in his last moments comes verily to me, and he who meditates otherwise at that time goes to what he longs for. We cannot be certain that we can entertain a particular good thought at our last moment, for more often than not, we are more likely to be frightened and terrified by death. Hence, constant practice is necessary for enabling us to fix our mind on any desired good thought at any moment. All saints, therefore, recommend us to remember God and chant His name always, so that we may not be perplexed or perturbed when the time for departure comes. The devotees on their part surrendered themselves completely to the saints, fully believing that the saints would guide to help them in their last moments. A few such cases will be noted here. Vijayanand. A sannyasi from Chennai named Vijayanand started on pilgrimage to Mansarovar. En route, on hearing Baba's fame, he halted at Shirdi. There he met one Soma Devaji Swami of Haridwar and required from him about the Mansarovar trip. The Swami told him that the Sarovar was 500 miles above Gangotri and described to him the difficulties of the journey. Plenty of snow and a change of dialect every 50 kos, and the suspicious nature of the local people, who give a lot of trouble to the pilgrims on that way. On hearing this, the sannyasi was dejected and cancelled the trip. Then, when he went to Baba and prostrated himself before him, Baba got enraged and said, "Drive out this useless sannyasi. His company is of no use." The sannyasi did not know Baba's nature. He felt discomforted but sat there watching things that were going on. It was the morning darbar and the masjid was overcrowded. Baba was being worshipped in various ways. Some were washing his feet, some taking the tirth, holy water, and drinking it heartily, and some touching their eyes with it. Some were applying sandal paste and some scents to his body. And all were doing these things forgetting the distinction of caste and creed. Though Baba got enraged with him, he was filled with affection for Baba and he did not feel like leaving the place. He stayed in Shirdi for 2 days. When he got a letter from Chennai stating that his mother was very ill, he felt very dejected and wanted to be by his mother's side. But he could not leave without Baba's permission to return home. The omniscient Baba, knowing the future, said to him, "If you so loved your mother, why did you take sannyas? Attachment makes misuse of an okra garb. Go and sit quiet at your lodging. Wait with patience for a few days. In the Wada, there are many robbers. Bolt your doors and be very vigilant, and thieves will carry everything. Wealth and prosperity are transient, and the body is subject to decay and death. While knowing this, do your duty, leaving all attachment with the things of this world and next. He who does this and surrenders himself to the feet of Hari, Lord, will get free from all troubles and attain bliss. The Lord runs and helps him, who remembers and meditates on him with love and affection. Your store of past merits is considerable, so you have come here. Now attend to what I say and realize the goal of your life. Begin from tomorrow to study the Bhagavad. Do 3 saptas, 3 readings during 3 weeks. Conscientiously. The Lord will be pleased with you and will destroy your sorrows. Your illusions will vanish and you will get eternal peace. On seeing that his end was approaching, Baba prescribed this remedy and made him read Rama Vijaya, which pleases the god of death. Next morning, after bathing and other purifying rites, he recommended to read Bhagavad at a secluded spot in the Lendi garden. He completed 2 readings and thereafter felt much exhausted. He returned to the Wada and stayed in his lodging for 2 days. And on the 3rd day, he breathed his last on Fakir Baba's lap. Baba asked the people to preserve the body for a day for a reason. The police afterwards came and on making proper inquiries gave permission for the disposal of the body. It was buried in a proper place with due rites. In this way, Baba helped the sannyasi and ensured him sadgati, salvation. Balaram Mankar. There was a household devotee of Baba by name Balaram Mankar. When his wife passed away, he got dejected and entrusted his household with his son, left home and came to Shirdi and lived with Baba. Being pleased with his devotion, Baba wanted to give a good turn to his life, and he did it in this way. He gave him 12 rupees and asked him to go and live in Machindragarh, district Satara. Mankar was first unwilling to go and stay away from Baba, but Baba convinced him that he was giving the best course for him and asked him to practice meditation thrice a day in the Ghat. On believing in Baba's words, Mankar went to the Ghat. He was much pleased with the serenity, pure water, healthy air, and the surroundings of the place, and began to practice assiduously the meditations as recommended by Baba. After some days, he got a revelation. Generally, Bhaktas get revelation in the samadhi or trance state, but in this Mankar state, he got it when he came down to his ordinary consciousness from his trance. Baba appeared to him in person. Not only that Mankar saw him, but he also asked him why he was sent there. Baba replied, in Shirdi, many thoughts and ideas began to rise in your mind, and I sent you here to bring your unsteady mind to rest. You thought that I was in Shirdi with a body, composed in the 5 elements and 3.5 cubits in length. Now you see and determine for yourself whether the person you see here now is the same you saw in Shirdi. It is for this reason that I sent you here. Then after the period was over, Mankar left the Ghat and proceeded to his native place Bandra. He wanted to travel by rail from Pune to Dadar. But when he went to the booking office to get the ticket, he found it very much crowded. He could not get his ticket soon. When a villager with a langoti, piece of cloth, on his waist and kambali on his shoulder turned up and said, where are you going? To Dadar, replied Mankar. Then he said, please take this Dadar ticket of mine as I have some urgent work here. I have cancelled my Dadar trip. Mankar was very glad to receive the ticket and was taking out money from his pocket when the rustic disappeared in the crowd. Mankar tried to find him out in the crowd, but in vain. He waited for him till the train left the station, but found no trace of him. This was the second revelation Mankar got from a strange form. Then Mankar, after visiting his home, again returned to Shirdi and remained there at Baba's feet, following his abiding and advice. In the end, he was very fortunate to leave this world in the presence of Baba. Tatya Sahib Nulkar. Hemad Pant gives no particulars regarding Tatya Sahib Nulkar except the bare mention of the fact that he gave up his ghost in Shirdi. A brief summary of his account that appeared in the Sai Leela magazine is given here. Tatya Sahib was a sub-judge at Pandharpur in 1909, where Nana Sahib Chandokar was Mamaladar there. Both met often and exchanged words. Tatya Sahib did not believe in saints, while Nana Sahib respected them. Nana Sahib often told him the Leelas of Sai Baba and pressed him to go to Shirdi and see Baba. Nulkar finally agreed to go to Shirdi on 2 conditions. Number 1, he must get a Brahmin cook, and number 2, he must get good Nagpur oranges for the presentation. Both these conditions were providently fulfilled. A Brahmin came to Nana Sahib for service, and he was sent to Tatya Sahib, and a fruit parcel containing 100 beautiful oranges were received by Tatya Sahib. The consignor became unknown. As the conditions were fulfilled, Tatya Sahib had to go to Shirdi. At first, Baba was much enraged with him, but by and by Tatya Sahib got such experiences that he was convinced that Baba was God incarnate. So he was enamored of Baba and stayed there till his death. As his end was approaching, sacred literature was read out to him, and at the last hour Baba's Pada Tirth was brought and given to him for drinking. Baba, on hearing of his death, said, "Oh, Tatya went ahead of us. He won't be reborn." Mega. The story of Mega has been already described in chapter 28. When Mega died, all the villagers followed the funeral procession. Baba also accompanied them and showered flowers on Mega's body. After the obsequies were performed, tears flowed from Baba's eyes, and like an ordinary mortal, Baba showed himself overcome with grief and sorrow. Then, covering the body with flowers and crying like a near relation, Baba returned to the masjid. Many saints have been seen giving sadgati to men, but Baba's greatness is unique. Even an animal like tiger came to Baba's feet for being delivered from demerits. It is this story which will be narrated now. The tiger. 7 days before Baba passed away, a wonderful incident occurred in Shirdi. There came a country cart and stopped in front of the masjid. A tiger was on the cart, fastened with iron chains, with his agonized face turned to the rear. It was suffering from some painful malady. Its keepers, 3 dervishes, had been taking it from place to place and making money by exhibiting it. It was the means of their substance. They tried all sorts of remedies to cure it from the malady it was suffering from, but all in vain. Then they heard of Baba's fame and came to him with the animal. They got it down with chains in their hands and made it stand at the door. It was naturally fierce besides being disease-ridden, so it was restless. The people began to look at it with fright and amazement. The dervishes told Baba everything about the animal and with his consent brought it before him. As it approached the steps, it retreated on account of the awe of Baba and hung its head down. When both saw each other, it got on the top to the step and looked at Baba with affection. Immediately it moved the tuft of its tail and dashed it thrice against the ground, and then fell down senseless. On seeing it dead, the dervishes were much dejected and full of sorrow, but on proper thought they came to terms with it. They consider that as the animal was diseased and nearing its end, it was very meritorious on its part that it met its death at the feet of Baba. It was their debtor, and when the debt was paid off, it was free and met its end at Sai's feet. When any creatures bow down their heads at saints' feet and meet death, they are liberated, unless they have got a good store of merit on their account. How could they get such a meritorious end? Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Chapter 32. In quest of Guru and God, fasting disapprove. In this chapter, Hemad Pant describes two things: how Baba met his Guru in the woods and through him, God, and number two, how Baba made Mrs. Chokhale, who had made up her mind to fast for 3 days, eat Puran Polis. Preliminary. In the beginning, Hemad Pant describes the Sansara, invisible world, by the allegory of Ashvata tree, which has in the phraseology of the Gita roots above and branches below. Its branches are spread downward and upward and are nourished by the gunas, the qualities, and its sprouts are the objects of the senses. Its roots leading to actions are extended downwards to this world of men. This form cannot be known in this world, nor its end, its beginning, nor its support. After cutting this Ashvata tree of strong roots with a sharp weapon of non-attachment, one should seek the path beyond threading where there is no return. For traversing this path, the help of a good guide, a guru, is absolutely necessary. However learned a man may be, or however deep his study of Veda and Vedant, sacred literature may be, he cannot reach his destination safely. If the guide be there to help him and show him the right way, he would avoid the pitfalls and the wild beasts on the journey move aside. Baba's experience in this matter through the story which he gave out himself is really wonderful, which when attended to will give you faith, devotion and salvation. The quest. Once 4 of us were studying religious scriptures and other books and being thus enlightened, we began to discuss the nature of Brahma. One of us said that we would raise the self with self-efforts and not depend on others. To this, the second replied, and who controls his mind is blessed. We should be free from thoughts and ideas, and there is nothing in the world without us. The third said that that the world phenomenon is always changing, the formless is eternal. So we should discriminate between the unreal and the real. And the fourth, Baba himself urged that bookish knowledge alone is worthless, and added, let us do our prescribed duty and surrender our body, mind and 5 pranas, which is life, to the Guru's feet. Guru is God, all-pervading. To get this conviction, strong, unbound, found is necessary. While discussing in this way, we 4 learned men began to rumble through the woods in quest of God. The 3 wanted to make a quest with their free and unaided intellect. On the way, a Vanjari, a man who trades in certain things such as grain, etc., by carrying them on bullock, met us and asked us, it is hot now, where and how far are you going? In the woods. We replied. He inquired, on what quest are you bound? We gave him an ambiguous and evasive reply. On seeing us rambling aimlessly, he was moved and said, without knowing the woods fully, you should not wander at random. If you want to walk through forests and jungles, you should take a guide with you. Why do you exert yourselves unnecessarily during this hot noon sun? You may not give out to me your secret of the quest. Still, you can sit down, eat bread, drink water, take rest, and then go. Be always patient at heart. Though he spoke so tenderly, we discarded his request and marched on. We thought that we were self-contained men and needed nobody's help. The woods were vast and trackless. The trees therein grew so close and tall that the sun's rays could not penetrate through them. So we lost our way and wandered here and there for a long time. Ultimately, through sheer good luck, we came back to the place from where we started. The Vinjari met us again and said, by relying on your own cleverness, you missed your way. A guide is always necessary to show us the right way in small or great matters, and no quest can be successfully carried out on an empty stomach, unless God wills it. No one meets us on the way. Do not discard offerings of food. Served dish should not be thrust away. Offers of food should be regarded as auspicious signs of success. On saying this, he again offered us food and asked us to be calm and patient. Again, my companions did not like this unsolicited hospitality and discarded his offer. Without doing any quest and without taking any food, the three began to move out. So obstinate were they. I was hungry and thirsty, and I was moved by the Vanjari's extraordinary love. We thought ourselves very learned and were strangers to kindness. The Vanjari was a quite illiterate and unqualified fellow and belonged to a low caste. Still, he had love in his heart and asked us to eat the bread. In this way, he who loves others disinterestedly is really enlightened, and I thought acceptance of this hospitality was the best beginning of getting knowledge. So very respectfully I accepted the loaf of bread offered, ate it and drank water. Then, lo, the Guru came and stood before us. What was the dispute about? He asked, and I told him everything that had happened. Then he said, would you like to come to me? I will show you what you want, but he alone who believes in that what I say will be successful. The others did not agree to what he said and left him, and I bowed to him reverently and accepted his dictum. When he took me to a well, I tied my feet with a rope and hung me head downwards and feet up from a tree near the well. I was suspended 3 feet above the water, which I could not reach with my hands or with my mouth. After suspending me in this manner, he went away, no one knew where. After 10 or 12 gatakas, 4 or 5 hours, he returned, and after taking me out quickly, asked me how I fared. In bliss supreme I was. How can a fool like me describe the joy I experienced? I replied. On hearing my answer, the Guru was much pleased with me, drew me near him, and stroking my head with his hand, kept me with him. He took care of me as tenderly as a mother bird does of her young ones. He put me into his school. How beautiful it was! There I forgot my parents, all my attachment was snapped, and I was liberated easily. I thought that I should embrace him and keep staring at him always. If this image was not fixed in my eyes, I would rather be blind. Such was the school. No one who entered it once could return empty-handed. My Guru became my all in all. My home, my mother, my father, everything. All my senses left their places and concentrated themselves in my eyes. And my sight was centered on him. Thus my Guru was the sole object of my meditation, and I was conscious of none else. While meditating on him, my mind and intellect was silent, and I had thus to keep quiet and bow to him in silence. There are other schools where you see an altogether different spectacle. The disciples go there to seek knowledge and spend their money, time, and labor, but ultimately they don't gain much. The Guru there boasts of his secret knowledge and his straightforwardness. He makes a show of his sacred and holiness. He speaks a lot and sings his own glory, but his own words do not touch the disciples' heart, and they are not convinced. So far as self-realization is concerned, he has not reached that. How can such schools be of any use to the disciples, and how can they be benefited? The master, Guru, mentioned above was of different type. By his grace, realization flashed upon me of itself, without effort or study. I had nothing to seek. Everything came to me as clear as broad daylight. The Guru alone knows how to invert suspension. With head down and feet up, can give happiness. Among the four, one was Karamandi, ritualistic, who only knew how to observe and abstain from certain rites. The second was Dhyani, who was puffed up with pride of knowledge, and the third was a Bhakta, who surrendered himself completely to God, believing that he was the sole doer. When they were discussing and arguing, the question of God came up, and they depending on their unaided knowledge went in search of him. Sai, who was discrimination and dispassion incarnate, was one of the four. On being himself Brahma incarnate, some may ask, why did he mix with them and act foolishly? He did this for setting an example to follow. Though an incarnation himself, he respected a low Vanjari by accepting his food with a firm belief that food is Brahma, and showed how those who rejected Vanjari's hospitable offer suffered, and how it was impossible to get Jnana without a guru. The Shruti exhorts us to honor and worship mother, father, and preceptor, and to study, learn, and teach the sacred scriptures. These are the means of purifying our minds, and unless purification is effected, self-realization is not possible. Neither our senses nor the mind and intellect reach the self. Modes of proof such as perception and inference will not help us in this matter. It is the grace of the Guru that counts. The objects of our life such as Dharma, Artha, and Kama are attainable with our effort. But the fourth object, moksha, liberation, can only be had with the help of the Guru. In the life story of Sri Sai, many personalities appear and play their part. Astrologers came and give out their predictions. Princes, noblemen, ordinary and poor men, sannyasis, yogis, singers, and others came for darshan. Even a Maha comes and making his salutation says, Sai is the my Bab, true parent, who will do away with our rounds of births and deaths. So many others, such as jugglers, gondalis who sing devotional songs, the blind and the lame, nath panthis, dancers, and other players come and are given suitable reception. The Vanjari also appeared at the right time and played the part assigned to him. Let us now revert to the other story. Fasting and Mrs. Gokhale. Baba never fasted himself, nor did he allow others to do so. The mind of the person who fasts is never at ease. Then how could he attain his paramartha, goal in life? God is not attained on an empty stomach. First, the soul has to be appeased. If there be no food in the stomach and nutrition, with what eyes would we see God? With what tongue would we describe his greatness? And with what ears would we hear the same? In short, when all our organs get proper nutrition and are sound, we can practice devotion and other sadhanas to attain God. Therefore, neither fasting nor overeating is good. Moderation in diet is really wholesome, both to the body and mind. One Mrs. Jokhale came to Shirdi with an introductory letter from Mrs. Kashibai Kanitar, a devotee of Baba, to Dada Kelkar. She came to Baba with a determination to sit at Baba's feet and observe 3 days fast. The previous day, Baba said to Dada Kelkar that he would not allow his children to starve during the Shigma, holy holidays, and that if they had to starve, why was he there? Next day, when the woman went to Tada Kelkar and sat at Baba's feet, Baba at once said to her, "Where is the necessity of fasting? Go to Dada Bhatt's house, prepare the dish of Puran Polis, wheat rotis with gram flour and jaggery. Feed his children and yourself too." Shimga holidays were on. Mrs. Kelkar was then going through her menses, and there was nobody to cook in Dadabat's house. So Baba's advice was very timely. Then Mrs. Gokhale had to go to Dadabat's house and prepare the dish as directed. She cooked that day, fed others and herself. What a good story, and how beautiful its import. Baba Sakar. Baba gave a story of his boyhood as follows. When I was a youngster, I was in search of bread and went to bed. There I got embroidery work. I worked hard, sparing no pains. The employer was very much pleased with me. 3 other boys worked before me. The first got 50 rupees, the second 100, the third 150 rupees, and I was given twice the total of the amount of 600 rupees. After seeing my cleverness, the employer loved me, praised me, and honored me with a full dress, a turban for the head, and a shela for the body, etc. I kept this dress intact without using it. I thought that what a man might give does not last long, and it is always imperfect. But what my saga God gives lasts to the end of time. No other gift from any man can be compared to his. My Saka says, "Take, take," but everybody comes to me and says, "Give, give." Nobody attends carefully to the meaning of what I say. My Saka's treasury, spiritual wealth, is full. It is overflowing. I say, dig out and take away this wealth with cartloads. The blessed son of a true mother should fill himself with his wealth. The skill of my fakir, the lila of my lord, and the aptitude of my saka is quite unique. But what about me? Body. Earth will mix with earth, breath with air. This time won't come again. No matter where I go or where I sit, Maya always troubles me much. Still, I'm always anxious for my men. He who does anything, spiritual endeavor, will reap its fruit, and he who remembers the words of mine will get invaluable happiness. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all.
Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohan Prachodayat. Om Para Brahmaya Vidmahi Shiva Tatvaya Dhimahi Tano Mohan Prachodayat. Jai Mohanji. Please join us tomorrow for the next chapters.